Salah the saviour again. It's Mo Salah looking towards the skies. Liverpool and Spurs march on in Champions League. The Conor Murray is the top there. We took the time that was necessary to get the neck fully right. Guardiola hails Sterling handling of racism debate. Yeah, so Raheem Sterling getting the credit that he deserves for standing up and just being Raheem Sterling, really. Kieran Shannon says Cork has had to again accept its affairs will be better off run by Croke Park. So, and this is the post-Frank Murphy era, and that's his column on the back of the Examiner, worth a read today, because maybe all the county boards should have their affairs run by Croke Park. Maybe the county board should be less powerful and should have all of their affairs, financial and administrative, fixtures, all that kind of stuff, run by a professional Politburo, and then the county board could be about raising funds, could be about supporters clubs, could be about coaching, could be about all the things that volunteers are really good at. But volunteers sometimes have difficulties when it comes to issues around finance because they don't have the qualifications or they don't have the time to dedicate to it. Right bite, no need for King George Hero to go back to school. Henderson reports Star in A1 condition for defence. So Mike Bite is ready to repeat his King George chase heroics of last year without any remedial work on either his jumping or his mental state after his horror show at Haydock, according to trainer Nicky Henderson. The Times Ireland edition. The Great Remainers. If you haven't seen the Spurs goal, then keep your window open with this show and search for it, because it was very, very good.
Was it better than the goal they conceded?
Don't know. Was it?
It depends how much you place on Kyle Walker-Peters and his ineptitude for the Dembele goal. If you say that...
Did you see the Rio Ferdinand thing at the weekend? It was like Kyle Walker. Oh, Kyle Walker-Peters, sorry.
Yeah, the Tottenham Hotspur player. Yeah. The guy that, Pochettino had to give a big hug to when he came off the pitch yesterday. I have the theory that he made one mistake for that goal. It looks like he made 2 or 3, but really, I think he only made one mistake, the initial one, giving away the ball, and Dembele just totally roasts him, and Dembele is a man in form at the moment. One to get picked up on, I don't know why he did this, but Carmelo Anthony has this celebration, a three-point celebration where he takes 3 fingers and taps his head with them, and for some reason Dembele did that thing last night, despite the fact he scored a goal and goals count for 1.
Sexton signs new contract until 2021. Kieran Rattick has picked out the comments from Johnny Sexton. I think it was in the middle of the year, May. He said, Stuart Lancaster's got me obsessed with Tom Brady. I'm reading up on him. Stuart has got me convinced I'm going to play until I'm 40. So I wouldn't be terribly surprised. You definitely wouldn't put that past Sexton at this point. In the Independent, Rory O'Connor's making the point that he is pretty Spartan when it comes to his fitness regime. Alisson saves Liverpool at the death. Salah goal proves enough. Even the goal was a little bit lucky in the end.
The goal was absolutely sensational.
There's 3 mistakes in it, and you're like, why is the goalkeeper jumping out of the way?
There's not 3 mistakes in that goal.
The first guy runs away from it. The second
That's
guy,
the only mistake.
The second guy, the
gets
guy's
destroyed.
actually marking
Koulibaly gets destroyed by...
What's he doing on that side of him? Why is he on the outside of him?
Because Mo Salah does weird things to your mind.
I mean, maybe if you're a good defender, he's not supposed to do certain things to your mind. And you're supposed to be playing for an Italian team. Did you notice as well that there seemed to be a uniform for the Ultras, the Napoli Ultras?
No, I didn't notice that.
They all had black coats and black scarves, and they were all centred together. It was and it looked like they had the same black coat.
Right. Is that a tad worrying?
Yeah.
It's that
all dressed in black.
Italian black shirts. I don't know what
Striker's slow burn season shows signs of igniting. It turns out that concerns over the reports of his death have been greatly exaggerated, I think is the line I'm looking for about Mo Salah. And then there's the match reports there from the rest of the European football night. Sexton signs a 2-year deal which reflects value to club and country. It is a bit mad that Irish Rugby decided it was okay that Johnny Sexton would leave Ireland for a while.
Yeah, when you look back into that was pretty stupid.
Yeah, up there with any of the dumbest decisions that we've ever made in Irish sport. Yeah, it's grand, you go away. You're the actual archetype of you're the kind of bellwether of our culture, and also one of the best players in the world in his position. That's okay, we can survive without you. We've got Jimmy Gopperth. We're grand.
We just couldn't
afford... Jimmy Gopperth's a
keep...
bad player or anything, but he ain't no Johnny Sexton.
But we weren't getting those incremental gains in wages to the point where we could afford to pay Johnny Sexton what he needs. We can now do that, but it's just too big a leap. Were we at a point where we were paying people?
Or just pay him. Pay the man the money. Pay him. Rugby careers are not shortening, they're just starting earlier, which is an interesting take from Gordon Darcy. They've obviously got a picture of James Ryan as a kid in a Schools Cup match. I wonder how old that is now, but
2011 I think is the photo, is it?
Is it?
No, probably
Leinster Schools Junior Cup match against Castleknock in 2011, yeah. So 8 years ago, 7 years ago really, from the picture that they've got beside it. And
14-year-old James Ryan.
Yeah, scrawny, and it's like earmarked for greatness from that point.
Yeah, well, that is the point Darcy's making now, is that at the age of 14, you're thinking about greatness, you're thinking about making the Ireland team, you're thinking about the World Cup in 2027, you're thinking about the Lions Tour in 2025, he says. So he's saying, as the headline suggests, that things just aren't shortening in terms of career, they're actually just as long, if not longer. It's just you're really kind of tuned into that professionalism from a much younger age.
Yeah. And so whatever, rugby's doing a pretty good job of getting players through. So an ad for perfume on the back of the Irish Independent sports section today. They're going really with the Sexton news as well. Sexton's investment in his own body reaps rewards. Camera left, yeah, that's it. And so Rory O'Connor's piece about Sexton. The news coming from the Mayo ladies football team, because we haven't had enough about that. Latest in dispatches from Donegal Boyle. None of the 12 players who left the Mayo ladies football squad earlier this year are part of Peter Leahy's 49-strong training panel for 2019. So, are we ready for more of that? Oh yeah, the other thing was we showed you the picture of Troy Parrott training with the Spurs first team in the new camp. Completely forgotten, of course, that the Champions League matches underage, under 16, under 17, under 18, whatever age. It's the youth team. I think, is it under 19? It is the under 19 UEFA Youth League. It happens at the same time as the Champions League. So Barcelona were playing Spurs. How did Troy Parrott get on?
He only scored a goal.
And they won 2-0, so they're through to the next round. They're through to the playoffs for the quarterfinals in early in the new year. So, stick him in the team. Don't heap any expectation on him. Just put him in the team. And then take him out of the team. And then put him back in the team. Never take him out again.
And never put him on the bench.
Never.
Start him in every single game.
Come on, why not?
Like, suddenly Michael Obafemi is looking over his shoulder at this guy. That's the situation we're in.
They're going to be a partnership. You're going to have a really dynamic 10 and a 9.
You're really taking us into the new age there. 2 attacking players.
How would that be amazing? Martin Brownie, rugby's drink deal shows sponsorship hypocrisy. He's saying that loads of people got angry about the fact that the GAA had drink sponsorship when they had drink sponsorship, but now nobody's getting angry about the fact that rugby has drink sponsorship. It is the Six Nations organising body, and it is the Pro 14 company, as opposed to the local IRFU who have the drinks sponsorship deal. And the GAA do have a giant sponsorship deal with Guinness, where it's pouring rights in Croke Park, but that's technically Croke Park, as opposed to it being officially the GAA, even though obviously it's the GAA's money that Guinness end up paying the money into. So I don't know I'm not sure where the hypocrisy is. I'm struggling to see where the hypocrisy is. It's double standards apparently. There's lots of drinks puns in it, which is stitched in. So
yeah, there is one great sentence in it actually, which I'm not sure I can just grab that for 1 second.
Yeah.
There's, I don't know why it just got through. He says he's not just talking about rugby here. He's talking about football as well. He says, check the FAI website and you will find that Carlsberg are aboard as partners. That's a lot of beer sloshing around the sponsorship troughs in rugby and soccer. Cheers, says Martin Brennan. Cheers to you too.
Wasn't it former President Mick Loftus, though, who was the main mover in the GAA deciding not to have full drink sponsorship? A former GAA president who actually led that discussion. Isn't that actually the whole point, that the GAA as an organisation decided and had a proper conversation and went, okay, so there are some people, he quotes Micheál Martin, who may or may not have been the Minister for Health at the time, and so therefore it would have been in his purview. Somebody from the church, who cares? And it was the IMO, apparently also the Irish Medical Organisation. So, I don't know. He pays your money, he takes your choice, and you decide who you're going to listen to.
Yeah, it's been relaxed over the years as well, hasn't it? The idea of having a pint at Croke Park We're obviously not allowed the old liberal nature of what you can do with the Aviva, which is bringing a plastic cup to your seat.
For rugby, not for soccer.
For rugby, obviously,
Yeah.
But then when it comes to GAA, you can have your pint, but you're not watching the game with that pint.
No.
You daren't sit down because
small TVs you can watch.
Maybe it's just a reflection of the refereeing in GAA. You'll get so pissed off with what David Goff does, you throw your pint at somebody.
Well, I think
not speaking from experience or anything.
Hey, you've been throwing pints at people?
I'm joking.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you got causing trouble with those Mayo fans that time, so.
No, the Mayo fans were causing trouble with us, I think, is the phrase you're looking for.
What have you got in yours? Yeah.
I've got the Irish Daily Mail. Saviour Salah, says the back page of this newspaper. Mo puts Reds into last 16 as Spurs joined them with Barca draw. And Sexton to carry on until 2021 Lions tour, reads their headline on the contract story. The back page of the Herald this morning is Mo magic as Reds roll on. Klopp proud as Liverpool survive Napoli. And it's Paul Ince time of the week. This time he's saying sell Pogba in January, which may be the case if we were to believe some of the reports this morning that Jose Mourinho is trying to put Paul Pogba into the shop window once again. He's going to start him tonight for the sole reason of reminding the world that Paul Pogba exists and he should definitely consider purchasing him in January. Back page of the Mirror is Mo Place Like Home, another epic Euro night at Anfield as Reds squeeze through, while Raheem Sterling is an incredible person, says Pep Guardiola ahead of the Manchester City game tonight. Sweet 16, says the back of the Irish Daily Star. Klopp hails Mo after heroics help Poole squeeze through.
That's the 16.
They're into the last 16 of
the
Champions League. So basically there's 16 teams.
Never pass up the opportunity to have a Sweet 16. Like any vague kind of, there was 16 people in the crowd with the name Johannes the other night. Sweet 16.
It's actually just a throwback to Mo Salah's favourite TV show, which is My Super Sweet 16 on MTV.
Also, you Buttes. There's a lot of Brexit puns. Wondering what they are. Do they use the same ones?
UK one.
Yeah. That's the UK Star, is it?
That's the UK Star, yes. The Irish Daily Star obviously felt that you Buttes wouldn't be applicable to us. Mo ho ho, says the back of the Sun, which is a good one. Top of the morning to you. Super Salah puts Cop through. It's very simple. Maybe I'm just...
No, that's good, it's good. That's exactly what it should be.
Yeah.
Simple, relevant.
And everybody understands it. I know Sweet 16 was a highly complicated one, which a lot of people just wouldn't be able to comprehend.
It's not. It was just.
I had to explain the very complicated nature of Sweet 16 to you. But Mo ho ho, it's December. His name is Mo.
I get it. It's good.
It says ho ho ho.
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah.
Lucas to restore.
Not funny. I mean, the best ones are the ones like that are also funny.
I think Mo ho ho is kind of funny. It's like it's. I don't know. It's.
He's got a beard.
Yeah, he does. He does actually. Yeah.
I'm not sure Mo Salah celebrates the arrival of the baby Jesus on the 25th of December.
Everybody does. What?
I mean, hang on. Doesn't the famous song "Do They Know It's Christmas"? No, they don't know it's Christmas because they're from a Muslim country, so they don't give a shit about Christmas. Nothing like a bit of 80s imperialism.
They're really missing out on the Nativity and Christmas Eve Mass. Back page of The Guardian is double delight. Liverpool and Spurs defy odds to march into the last 16. And the special one, says the Daily Telegraph this morning. Brilliant Salah strikes an Anfield thriller to take Liverpool into Champions League knockout stage.
There's a good piece there. Exclusive motorsport giants McLaren and Tour winner Nibali team up to topple Sky. Well, it turns out, that was the exclusive on the Telegraph this morning, but it turns out they don't need to team up to topple Sky. There's only one more season left of Team Sky. The breaking news this morning is that Sky have announced that they are withdrawing their funding and ownership of the cycling team, Team Sky, because it's just come to its natural end at this stage. Nothing to do with the constant stream of controversy that has followed and dogged the cycling team over the last number of years, pretty much since they started winning from... they managed to turn really mediocre tour riders into some of the greatest and most successful Grand Tour winners in the history of the sport. An amazing, incredible feat of achievement by David Brailsford. And, Sky have decided that they no longer want to be associated with that.
This is kind of what it feels like if the Big Bang Theory was ever cancelled. Just a terrible thing being washed away. I would like for that to happen in television terms. It's finally happened in sporting terms. And I'm actually a little bit wistful. It was a fun time with Team Sky.
Yeah.
It was...
Bradley Wiggins has come out fighting in the last few days. I mean, this stuff flares up and flares, and you're kind of like, oh, am I going to sit down and wade through 5,000 words and Bradley Wiggins? But then you're kind of like, oh, yeah. And then, so the doc is now well again.
He's testifying this week, isn't he?
Lazarus, like Tyson Fury, risen from his sickbed in the 12th round.
He was he was so sick he couldn't Skype into the select committee at the Commons because obviously his infection was so viral it would have transferred over Wi-Fi into the poor MP sitting in Parliament. So he's a very conscientious guy, and it's good to see him back up and healthy and all that sort of thing. Like some of the highlights of Team Sky, like it's got to be Wiggins' wife versus Froome's wife as the highlight of Team Sky. I know that it's technically not a Team Sky infighting situation because Wiggins was gone at that point, but for me that was the #1 Team Sky moment, and they'll be sorely missed. Goodbye, Team Sky.
What did Bradley Wiggins' wife say?
Slithering reptile.
Slithering reptile
is what Chris Froome is. It's
good. It has a bang of Harry Potter off it as well. So, some great details coming from Martha Kellner, the sports correspondent in The Guardian, about the announcement that this was happening. So, Sky summoned Dave Brailsford to a meeting, and we're like, right, this is it. It's done. Apparently, it has massively shocked Brailsford. Was informed of Sky's decision to end their ownership and sponsorship of the team last week. He was said to be shocked at the news. After over a decade of involvement in cycling, Sky is bringing to an end its partnership with Team Sky from the end of 2019. Now, the big thing, right, so you're like, what's the big deal? It's a sponsorship of a team. It was the money that they had and that they decided to pump into it, which just gave them a massive advantage. Money, obviously, in all sports creates a massive advantage and inequality and allows the teams to be completely dominant. I mean, obviously, you know, anyway, so this is one of those stories you're like, yes, let's talk about this and be very careful. It's going to be interesting to see how much other brands want to be associated with the Brailsford magic and the marginal gains, because it swept British corporate culture after the Olympics in 2012 in particular. What was the first Olympics where they started to do really well? Was it before that even? It was, wasn't it?
Was it 08?
Yeah, did they win a lot of stuff? Chris Hoy won a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, 2008.
Yeah, so at that point he came out with his marginal gain stuff, and business was like, oh yeah, I mean if we just did everything a little bit better, we'd be much better. Like, because
it's true.
I mean, it's like it's a genius kind of repackaging of the most obvious stuff. It's like the best dietitian books are always like, eat less and exercise more.
And you might lose weight.
Don't have any white bread. Yeah, and they sell millions. This whole industry is based on that. So that was basically you know, good quality snake oil for sale here. That's going to make you very snaky. and corporate culture in the UK was like, I need some of that snake oil. It's the best snake oil I've ever seen. So that's it'll be interesting to see who steps in to stump up for the money that it takes to run the team, the massive enterprise that it is, and all that equipment and all those scientists and all that data and all those doctors.
I hope it's someone shite. I hope it's like Betty Crocker or something. It's like,
what are you talking about, Betty Crocker?
Or like Holland and Barrett, Team Holland and Barrett. Have the yellow jersey going into the Alps and the fight, like that would just be fantastic to show that really it's all just about hard work. It doesn't really matter about the money and the power that you wield. I do feel sorry for Dave Brailsford. He's been shocked quite a bit over the past couple of years between adverse analytical findings, which obviously rattled his cage, and completely unfairly so, and it all ended up being nothing to Team Sky finally pulling their sponsorship. He's been ashen quite a bit, I dare say.
Betty Crocker make good, you can look like you know how to make good cookies.
You can look like you know how to make cookies.
Yeah.
All right, so I should purchase them.
Look what I made.
It's almost kind of a metaphor for the cycling industry.
This pre-made, pre-bought stuff that smells and looks like it's home cooked, and you get all the credit.
Yeah. So
I mean, come on, let's face it, that's actually a brilliant product.
If you add a little bit more cooking powder, if you add a little bit more of something to it, you will have a better result. If you add a little bit more sugar, the cookies are going to be sweeter. It's basically the cooking's version of marginal gains.